We are Black Force. We are Arizona.
Sunshine in San Diego. We are back. It's game 2 against the Padres. And after last night's dominant performance by Zach Greinke, the D-backs pass the baton over to Patrick Corbin. Join us for D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Petco Park. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume and Bob Brenly along the way. D-backs looking to make it 2 in a row against the Padres, the second of this 3-game series. And it's the D-backs debut tonight, Bob, for Eduardo Escobar.
You know, the Diamondbacks were very fortunate that Escobar was available and they had the talent necessary to get him away from the Minnesota Twins. You see his season numbers this year. He checks a lot of boxes for the D-backs. He plays third. He's a switch hitter with power from the left side, good base runner, and brings a lot of energy to the ball club.
Leading the majors in doubles, Tyson Ross on the mound for San Diego. Patrick Corbin, he faced the Padres once this year back in April, and he dominated.
He really dominated. Both those runs came, and one of the hits came. He should have been out of the 6th inning. Gave up, or struck out rather, Will Myers on a wild pitch. He reached first base. Christian Villanueva hit a 2-run homer. Other than that, he was outstanding.
11 strikeouts, one of 4 double-digit strikeout games for Patrick this year. First pitch is coming up from San Diego on Fox Sports Arizona.
D-backs baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. And by your Valley Honda dealer, where you'll get more standard features for less money. To you by Jack in the Box. This season, D-backs home runs score free jumbo jacks only at Jack in the Box. By Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos. The card by Gila River Casinos earns you rewards 10 times faster than ever before. Sign up for the card today.
Oh, beautiful Saturday in San Diego. We are set for Eduardo Escobar's first game in Sedona Red. The D-backs and the Padres next on Fox Sports Arizona. Saturday special, very comfortable, 75 degrees, clear skies overhead. Steve Berthew, Bob Renly, Todd Walsh with you. The D-backs a chance to make it 2 in a row over the Padres and get back to 10 games over 500 for the year. A game and a half behind the Dodgers, looking in on the National League West. Steven Souza Jr. Feel like I've been hypnotized. Let's take a look at the D-backs starting lineup tonight. It's brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
John Jay will lead it off out in right field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. David Peralta out in left field. A.J. Pollock in center. Somebody named Eduardo Escobar will be at third base tonight. Cattell Marte at shortstop. Daniel Descalso at second base. Jeff Mathis doing the catching for lefty Patrick Corbin.
Your Ram Truck starting pitcher for San Diego is the right-hander Tyson Ross. 6-8, a 4.29 ERA in 20 starts, and no secrets here. He has thrown more sliders than any pitcher in baseball.
Yep, slider, slider, slider. The Padres have lost 5 of his last 7 starts. His ERA over 6 over that stretch. Has struck out about a batter per inning, but he's also walked almost a batter per inning.
For a look around the diamond at the San Diego defense tonight, we turn to E.D. Marshall Jewelers.
Big Hunter Renfroe out in right field tonight. Manuel Margot once again in center field. Will Myers over in left. It'll be Christian Villanueva at third. Freddie Galvis at short. Jose Pirela at second base. Eric Hosmer at first. And Austin Hedges doing the catching for the big right-hander Tyson Ross.
The crew chief calling the balls and strikes is Alfonso Marquez. He's our plate umpire tonight. Brian Knights at first base. Pat Hoberg at second. And Ryan Addington is the third base ump. Time, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealers key to the game.
Well, with all apologies to Paul Simon, with Patrick Corbin against Tyson Ross, we're going to be slip-slidering away here tonight. Both these guys rely heavily on their slider as their out pitch and their strike pitch.
I like what you've done there. Nice work. Does that make me Art Garfunkel? Wait, no.
Who?
Exactly, right? So John Jay will lead it off, 274 and 3 homers. A beautiful Saturday in San Diego. Glad you're with us on Fox Sports Arizona for the D-backs and the Padres.
Boy, this entire road trip should have been sponsored by the Weather Channel. We have been really blessed with some of the best weather you can possibly get in Chicago this time of summer, and San Diego's always nice.
I lot of D-backs fans with us here enjoying it. Fastball from Ross is up and we're underway. John Jay, couple of singles last night. He drove in a run. He scored a run. Still some shadows out on the field. 5:40 local start, and Jay's got a base hit to start us off. John Jay's been very streaky since he's been a Diamondback. Looks like he's heating up again. He's on board for Goldie. Paul Goldschmidt, 276, 22 home runs. Goldie last night single walked. He scored a run. There's the Tyson Ross fastball. That's the only pitch he throws more than a slider, and it's not by a whole lot. He'll throw that slider 43% of the time, the most in the major leagues. There's another fastball in. It's 1-1. Ross beat the Phillies in his last start. That was Sunday in Philadelphia. Gave up 2 runs, 5 innings. He walked 3. It was Ross's first win since June 3rd. Tried the slider but missed upstairs. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
You know, you watch Tyson Ross, and we've seen him a number of times over the years, and he kind of goes out there in the first inning a little bit like Zach Greinke, trying to figure out what's going to be working, and it's always fun to see him try to incorporate the 2-seamer and the 4-seamer and the cutter and occasional changeup. But when push comes to shove, he's going to go right back to that slider. There's one right there.
Lands it for a strike, and it's 2-2. Now, the D-backs have seen Tyson Ross twice this year, both times at Chase Field. Struck out 10, flirted with a no-hitter back on April 20th. And the D-backs beat Ross earlier this month. They just pounded him, in fact. 8 runs, 7 hits. He was gone after 2 innings. Goldie fouls that one away. A fastball down and in. Torey Lovullo feeling pretty good about things right now. He got a solid win last night. Eduardo Escobar is here today, making his D-backs debut. Trying to sneak that slider through the front door on Goldie, and it stays 2-2. Goldie has homered twice in his career against Tyson Ross. So he's seen this movie before.
I was talking to Mark Grant, the fine TV analyst for the Padres, right next door to us, about Tyson Ross. And even though Ross has got parts of 7 seasons at the major league level and has been an accomplished pitcher here in San Diego for quite some time, he still toys with his mechanics from time to time. And Mark Grant was telling me that occasionally he'll lose the control of that slider, and that is his go-to pitch. If he doesn't have that one, it's going to be a long night. So we'll keep an eye on his mechanics as he strikes out Goldie with a hard slider low and away. I mean, he's a big dude out there, like a lot of moving parts to get going in the right direction, especially to throw such a finesse pitch like that slider.
And Tyson Ross, the veteran, 6'6", 245 pounds. One down for David Peralta, 290 and 16 homers. This is bounced to second. Perela, Galvis. And they can't turn the double play. Peralta hustling up the line.
Fortunately not hit hard enough for the Padres to turn an easy double play. Perela waited back on that hop. By the time he shovels it across to Freddie Galvis, David Peralta had just enough time to beat that at first base.
So David at first, 2 down for A.J. Pollock batting cleanup today. A.J. at 296, 13 homers. Had a pair of hits last night, including an RBI double. That was part of that 6-run Diamondback third.
You mentioned John Jay appears he's going to heat up a little bit, a streaky hitter. A.J. Pollock looked like he's about to go on a tear too. He's been squaring some balls up lately, smashed one into left field last night. Didn't hit it high enough to get it out of the ballpark, but banged it off the wall down the left field line.
Yeah, AJ last 16 games hitting over 330. Just barely missed a home run last night. AJ hits it deep right center field. Renfro's out there just shy of the warning track. Bottom one on the way from San Diego. Patrick Corbin coming up. Ram truck starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks is Patrick Corbin. Third in the National League in strikeouts, top 10 in ERA, coming off a win at Wrigley Field Monday over the Cubs.
Yeah, you remember, partner, not too long ago, we went through a stretch of games where it seemed like the D-back starter was getting to 30 pitches in the first inning every time out. Well, that is not the case with Patrick Corbin. In the first inning this season, second in the major leagues with the lowest opponent's batting average, second in on-base percentage, which obviously is very key in the first inning, and the OPS best in baseball in that first inning. That way the Diamondbacks offense has been operating lately, scoring a bunch of runs early. Works well.
Create some momentum for yourself early in the ball game, but he'll deal with Manuel Margot in the leadoff spot for Andy Green tonight. Margot homered last night in the second inning against Zach Greinke, his fourth of the year. He's batting .255. That fastball in on the right-hander, 0-2. Margot, couple of hits last night. Now riding a career best 8-game hitting streak. Slider, did he go? Yes, he went. Brian Knight rings him up. Good start for Corbin. Here's the Padres lineup presented by your Valley Chevy dealer.
Manuel Margot down on strikes to start it for the Padres tonight. Will Myers will be out in left field. Hunter Renfroe in right. Eric Hosmer at first base. Christian Villanueva down at third base. Freddie Galvis will be at short. Jose Pirela at second base. Austin Hedges doing the catching for the big right-hander Tyson Ross.
Myers batted third last night. He moves up into the 2-hole against the lefty Corbin. That one's fouled back. There's that slow curveball. Myers 9 homers, a .287 hitter,
He singled and struck out twice last night. This is a guy who has given Patrick problems in the past. Picks at the corner with that fastball, and it's 0-2. Myers, a career .409 hitter against Corbin, including 1 home run. Jeff Mathis back there behind the plate.
Every now and then you'll see a catcher, in this case Jeff Mathis, call for a sign and then give the pitcher a little fist pump or point his glove out to the mound. Give me your best one right here.
Jeff has really helped Corbin, it seems, with conviction in his stuff. That seems to have really helped Patrick with Mathis back there. Hunter Renfroe, big right-hand power hitter on deck. 2-2 on Will Myers. Tap back to the mound. Corbin's got it. E.D. Marshall Jewelers with a look around the diamond at the D-backs defense.
David Peralta in left, A.J. Pollock in center. John Jay will be over in right field. Eduardo Escobar at third base tonight, playing alongside Ketel Marte on the left side of the infield. Daniel Descalso will be at second base with Paul Goldschmidt at first. Jeff Mathis behind the plate, and lefty Patrick Corbin on the mound.
D-backs will put the shift on for Hunter Renfroe, the right fielder, batting third. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Hunter Renfroe, pretty much a dead pull hitter. This guy's a slugger, 45 hits this year, more than half for extra bases. 239 with 7 home runs. Another slider from Corbin, and it's 1-2.
I've watched some guys in the game of baseball, played with some guys that I would love to see their StatCast, where they hit the ball. I think Jerry Hairston Jr., when he was with the Chicago Cubs, he hit about 230 on balls between the white lines and about 700 on balls foul down the third baseline. He could turn on anybody's fastball, but could rarely keep it fair. His hot zone would have been in foul territory.
Wasn't all that great hitting it into fair territory, but foul, he excelled. Fastball misses in.
The fans down the third baseline loved him. Always got some souvenirs.
Well, it's good to see you embracing the analytics and all the mountain of data. Hosmer on deck.
Still looking for that loophole.
It's got to be one somewhere. Swing and a miss on the slider. And Corbin gets 2 strikeouts and a 1-2-3 first. There's your shutdown first, BB. No score after 1.
tomorrow, the celebration of our 20th anniversary continues as Fox Sports Arizona brings you a brand new show on the D-backs 20th anniversary team. Meet the 15 players and the skipper on the all-time team. The D-backs 20th anniversary team debuts tomorrow after our bowl game on Fox Sports Arizona. Eduardo Escobar in his Diamondback debut, and they're at third base. Looks at ball one from Tyson Ross. Escobar with the Minnesota Twins this year, 274 and 15 home runs. Acquired yesterday by the D-backs in exchange for 3 minor leaguers. Right now leading the major leagues with 37 doubles.
Yeah, we talked about it with Alex Avila and Steven Souza Jr. in spring training, acclimating yourself to different opposing pitchers, different ballparks, and certainly different teammates. And Escobar's going to have to do it on the fly.
Fastball missed inside, and Escobar is aboard a 4-pitch walk to open up his D-backs career. Brings up Ketel Marte, another switch hitter. Escobar is going to play a lot of third base. He'll hit in the main part of the lineup, Torey Lovullo told us this morning. The numbers on Marte, 249, 9 homers. Escobar does not run a whole lot, only 1 stolen base on the year. Marte shows bunt. That brings Villanueva in from third.
You're right, he doesn't steal a lot of bases, but all the reports I've heard on Escobar is he's a very good base runner. He knows when to try to take that extra 90 feet. Once he gets ahead of steam, he can cover a lot of ground on the bases, but not likely to try to steal very often.
He's not a big guy, 5'10", 185, but he swings the bat very well. Fastball missed, and it's 2-0. So Ross suddenly having problems finding the strike zone to start the second. Tyson Ross really a different pitcher than he was a few years ago. The velocity not quite where it used to be. Coming off a shoulder injury a couple of years ago. He hasn't had quite the same sinker he used to have. And so he's kind of had to reinvent himself. More 4-seam fastballs higher up in the zone. He started using a cut fastball. He's not had a whole lot of luck with that, but he's had to find different ways to get outs, he says.
You can become predictable with your fastball, but you can also become very predictable with a secondary pitch. In Tyson Ross's case, that slider. It's no secret around baseball that if he's in trouble or has traffic on the bases around him, he's going to go to his comfort zone, and that's the slider. And that pitch can become predictable in certain counts too.
3-1 on Marte. And he's walked Eduardo Escobar and Ketel Marte to open up the second inning. Brings up Daniel Descalso. Austin Hedges out there to have a word. So far, Tyson Ross, 11 balls and 10 strikes.
Escobar's already been a good influence on Ketel Marte. Watch what I do. Just don't swing.
Down there with Freddie Galvis. A chance for Descalso, the second baseman tonight. Daniel batting .259, 9 homers. He walked and scored in yesterday's D-backs win. 2 on, nobody out. Another one misses. That's a fastball. Just can't throw a strike with it. And you got to throw strikes to Descalso. He has walked 13 times in his last 13 games. 2 on, no outs.
Yeah, it gets to a point where you want your hitters to be aggressive, and if they get a good pitch to hit, put a good swing on it. But when a guy's throwing this many balls to start the second inning, you might want to take until you get a strike. There you go. Now go to work.
Went to that slider and threw it for a strike at the knees.
Make him prove that he can throw something in the strike zone after back-to-back walks to start the inning.
Fastball right down the middle, and now it's 1-2. Missed with that slider, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ross, even though he throws that slider more than anyone else in baseball, does not get nearly the swings and misses with his that Patrick Corbin gets. Into that pitch one more time, it stays 2-2.
A hot topic of conversation earlier this season, specifically in the month of May, we were talking about the tunneling. The Diamondbacks hitters tunneling pitches against opposing pitchers, and I think Tyson Ross would be a perfect guy to apply that principle. What I know about it, if you see that slider leave his hand and it's at you or on the inside part of the plate or off the plate inside, it's probably going to end up in the strike zone if you're a right-handed hitter. If it starts in the strike zone, more than likely it's going to sweep off the plate low and away. So if you can pick up the rotation, pick up where you think that ball is going to be out of his hand, it sounds easy, but don't swing it what looks like it's going to be a strike, because it's going to end up out of the zone. The one that's off the plate inside is the one that's going to end up in the strike zone.
And he walked 3 in a row to start the second. Descalso fouls it off. Yeah, Torey Lovullo talks about that with Ross all the time. Know where the slider starts and where it will finish.
Where it likely is going to end up. And of course, the key is just see the ball quickly. It was very simplified when I played in before. Just see the ball. See the ball, be an athlete, get the barrel on the ball as best you can. But because we have much more technology and much more access to analytics, they have different terminology now, and it confuses me sometimes.
Well,
but basically, it's just seeing the ball as quickly as you can out of the pitcher's hand.
one more time on 3-2 for Daniel Descalso.
Yeah.
He walked him, and the bases are loaded. He's walked the first 3 in the second. That brings up Jeff Mathis. Now, Jeff Mathis has 1 career at bat against Tyson Ross. Only 1. And it was a grand slam. Check this out. Back in the day with the Marlins.
Get it out there way over the Clevelander. Nice going. Do it again.
Kind of a nice coincidence here that Mathis faces Ross for the second time, again with the bases full. And Jeff has been hot lately, 202 on the year. Bases full of D-backs, nobody out. Mathis doubled and scored last night. He's hit safely in 4 straight games, 6 of his last 7. Chased the slider that time, and it's 0-2.
That's that slider I was talking about that looks like it's going to start in the strike zone right down the middle of the plate. You start the bat, and that late movement sweeps it off the plate low and away. Just can't get to it.
So Mathis on the defensive here. 5 for his last 16. Boy, Hedges really had to get out there to block that one. Escobar is the runner at third. Ketel Marte at second and Daniel Descalso at first. Slider missed. It's 2-2.
Good take right there. That is a real tough pitch to lay off of in a 2-strike count, because as we've been talking about, it looks like it's going to be in the strike zone, but ends up low and away.
He's off another slider, and now it's full 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I'd be surprised to see anything other than that slider right here on this 3-2 pitch with the bases loaded.
Here it is. Mathis hits it to right center, a base hit. Escobar scores. They'll stop Marte at third. Another RBI for Jeff Mathis, and it's 1-0 D-backs. That was a heck of an at-bat.
Really good at bat. Didn't start so well. Swung at a couple pitches that he probably shouldn't have, but got a hanging slider up and out over the plate. And instead of trying to pull it, he stays right on it, drives it into right field. Eduardo Escobar with his first Diamondbacks run scored.
And the bases are still full with no outs. Conference time at the mound. Aaron Balsley, the pitching coach. Patrick Corbin, the pitcher, is the hitter. 3 walks and a single open up the D-backs second. I don't know if Ross just can't locate his fastball or guys are just not chasing it, but he's really had trouble throwing it for strikes.
Just hasn't gotten it close enough to the zone to even appear like a pitch you want to swing at. He's thrown a couple right down the middle, but when he tries to go to the corners or the bottom of the zone, he's just not able to hit his spots.
That's a strike right there with a fastball. Patrick, 7 hits this year, a couple of RBIs. Misses badly with a slider that time, and it's 2-1.
You saw Ross take a little peek at his index finger right there. You throw that many breaking pitches, it seems inevitable you're going to have some blister issues.
Well, that's the last thing Andy Green needs after Luis Perdomo lasted just 2 1/3 last night. And then said he had some pain in his shoulder after the ball game. Padre bullpen did a very good job. Erlin, Stock, and Hughes. Robbie Erlin went 3 2/3. Here's the 2-2 to Corbin. Fastball is low, and he is now gone to 3-ball counts on all 5 he's faced in this inning, and 3 consecutive full counts.
40 pitches in the game already here in the top half of the second. Nobody out.
And more balls than strikes. Corbin sends one out to center for a base hit. That brings Marte home, and it's 2-0 D-backs. RBI single for Patrick Corbin. The pitchers are loving that. Hearing some boos from Padre fans.
A nice quick swing, saw that pitch up and out over the plate. He too, just like Jeff Mathis, stayed on it, hit it to the opposite field. Leandro Descalso had to hold up momentarily out there at second base on that soft line drive into center just to make sure it got down. So the bases are still loaded for John Jay.
And still nobody out. The top of the order now, a chance to do some real damage. Jay single to lead off the ball game. That one is fair. Hosmer's got it. Descalso sneaks across the plate with the 3rd run of the ball game. Eric Hosmer saved a couple of runs right there. That one was bouncing down the first base line.
Anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free crunchy beef tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
So 3 runs are in. Here's Goldie, struck out his first time. Still just 1 out. Infield in for the Padres. Slider misses badly. It's 1-0.
When a lot of the pitches that Tyson Ross has missed with have been up in the zone, which is bad news for any pitcher.
Phil Maton, the right-hander, has to start to get loose. Ross has really not been sharp. That fastball's a strike, 1-1. D-backs last night with a 6-run third. Already 3 runs in the second, and still just 1 out. Well, he just cannot throw that for a strike. Except if he throws it, Bob, as you mentioned, right down the middle. Infield in for the Padres. Goldie has homered twice in his career against Tyson Ross. He knocks that into right field. Here comes Mathis, 4-0 Diamondbacks.
That opposite field approach working well for the Diamondbacks in this inning. Last 3 hits in this ballgame have all come to the opposite field. Mathis, Patrick Corbin, and now Goldie driving one out there to right field. Anybody other than Patrick Corbin running at second base, he might have gotten 2 home on that base hit.
Tony Perez-Chica taking no chances, risking the big inning down there at third. No need to send Corbin. And now Peralta is the hitter. Last 4 D-back at-bats have produced 4 runs. David's got good numbers lifetime against Tyson Ross, a .333 batting average.
Yeah, Ross is a guy whose name has been kicked around recently as a possible trade target for somebody.
Yeah, we weren't even sure he'd make this start tonight. Thought he might be traded by now. Trade deadline coming up on Tuesday.
I heard somebody on TV or maybe online talking about there might not be any tradable players left by the deadline. A lot of early action this year.
Very busy last few days. On the corners, 1 out, 2-1 on Peralta. And that's a ground ball right to Perela. Galvis steps on the bag and they turn the double play. But the D-backs get 4. The first 3 walk, they all score. Bottom 2 from Petco Park. It's 4-0 Diamondbacks. Second in San Diego. Fans, we welcome back Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, Tony Womack, more of the 20th anniversary team coming up Saturday, August 4, a week from tonight. First 20,000 fans with us at Chase Field. Get this commemorative t-shirt courtesy of Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Gates open up at 1:30 for the annual alumni game presented by Sanderson Ford. A big day at the ballpark coming up Saturday. Check out dbacks.com. Against the Giants at 5-10, a 4-0 lead for Patrick Corbin as Eric Hosmer leads off the second for San Diego.
Big news on the alumni game front. I walked over with Rodrigo Lopez today, and he threw a side session here at the ballpark today in preparation for an outing in that alumni game.
I know Webby's coming back.
Yeah.
He has promised to pitch.
And it sounds like the boys are serious this time.
This could be very interesting. I don't know how that changes your role as commissioner.
Just get out of the way.
It could get ugly. Maybe the bench is empty. Who knows? Patrick Corbin a 1-2-3 first with a couple of strikeouts. He jumps ahead of Hosmer. Hosmer singled last night, 1 for 4. .246 and 10 homers for Hosmer. He's hit safely in 4 straight games. Here's that slider. 1-2. Hosmer this year has really struggled with breaking balls and off-speed pitches. This is a tough matchup for him, and he just shown why. 3 strikeouts for Corbin.
It's got to be a bad feeling as a left-handed hitter facing a guy like Patrick Corbin. You know you're going to get a steady dose of hard sliders low and away, but he starts you with a fastball. He took that one. That's the one pitch in that at bat he should have swung at. That first fastball ended up chasing sliders out of the zone. Our nationwide vision, eye on the game.
Here's a guy in contrast with Hosmer who has feasted on left-hand pitching. The third baseman, Christian Villanueva. Got that slow curveball and fouled it back. Villanueva only .223, but he leads the Padres in home runs and RBIs. Fastball misses up. D-backs have 3 infielders on the third base side. Good fastball in. Patrick getting that fastball into right-handers. You can see Villanueva .330 versus lefties this year, including 13 of his 19 homers. But Corbin gets him on the slider. He has struck out 4 of the first 5 he's faced.
You've heard me talk about non-competitive pitches, and we've seen a lot of them from Tyson Ross in this game. Balls that aren't even close enough to the strike zone to think about swinging at. Seeing some non-competitive swings from the Padres hitters tonight. They're chasing that slider all over the place.
Shortstop Freddie Galvis, a couple of singles last night, .239 on the year. Switch hitter batting from the right-hand side. Galvis about 25 points better as a right-hand batter. He can homer from either side of the plate. On the ground to second. Descalso gets over there, and Patrick Corbin locked in. 6 up, 6 down. He leads it 4-0. MLB.TV now available at a lower price, fans. $82.99 lets you watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand, and includes MLB at Bat Premium, which lets you watch live baseball on your favorite devices. Check out MLB.TV and take advantage of this special offer. A.J. Pollock leads off the third against Tyson Ross. Boy, that fastball has been a real struggle for Tyson Ross today.
And just look at the location of some of these first and second pitch fastballs. They're not remotely close to the strike zone. Those are the ones I refer to as non-competitive pitches. Nobody's going to swing at that.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Galvis at shortstop, spins and throws and makes a nice play. Freddie Galvis, a very underrated defender among major league shortstops. He can go get him with anybody.
He uses that slide to stop his momentum, plants the right foot, and comes up firing to Eric Hosmer at first base. Yeah, you're right. He makes some plays that will surprise you from time to time, but very, very steady out there at short.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Eduardo Escobar walked and scored in his first D-backs plate appearance in front of a 4-run D-backs second. Escobar's base on balls got things started. That's another fastball that misses by about 2-3 feet. Boy, it's hard to imagine a veteran major league pitcher, especially a guy with Tyson Ross's track record, missing this badly this often. That one was in the zone, fouled away, 2-1.
Yeah, finally got a strike. Walked in his first at bat on 4 pitches. The first 2 in this at bat weren't remotely close, but he got one in the strike zone and was ready.
This is out to center for Manuel Margot.
That can occasionally be an issue when you're facing a guy that's spraying it around like Tyson Ross is tonight, trying to maintain your aggressiveness on pitches that do happen to find the strike zone.
I guess you can go up there a little more relaxed, knowing he's struggling to throw strikes, and let a good one go by. Marte walked and scored in the second. First 3 batters in that second inning all walked. They all scored. It's a little squib shot over the head of Villanueva. Galvis can't get to it. It rolls into left, and look at this hustle by Marte. And he's in there at second. It bounced in very short left behind third and kept rolling up the line.
Got jammed badly on either a cutter or a slider up in the zone, but put it over the head of Christian Villanueva far enough away that Galvis could only try to track it down, and Ketel Marte running hard. Another nice hook slide to the inside part of the bag, safe at second with a 2-out double.
His 18th double of the year brings up Descalso.
Hook slide. I can't remember the last time I said that before Marte. It's been years since I've seen anybody slide that way into the bases.
Lost art. Chance for a 2-out RBI for Descalso. That one's fouled away. Started him off with a slider that time. Ross at 60 pitches, only 32 for strikes, barely half. There's a bounce hitter first for Hosmer. Ross gets over there and strands the 2-out double. We're in San Diego. It's 4-0 Diamondbacks.
watching you for the first time. They're going to watch you play tonight. Do you have anything you want to say to them back in Phoenix?
No, you said, hey, thank you, all you fans, you know, so I'm be so happy to be here, you know. Trust me, I'm going to play every day, making you happy. Every guy in the stadium will be making you happy. And so funny guy. But, you know, so I'm be playing every day 100% for you guys, making you happy guys in the field. It's the most important. Help my team win now.
And there you have it, guys. Back here in San Diego, foul ball back to the screen. Those are the first words as heard on Diamondbacks Live a little bit earlier from Eduardo Escobar, the newest Arizona Diamondback. And I will tell you, Steve and Bob, that he was holding court with the print media inside the clubhouse today. Had them roaring, telling stories about how he hates cats.
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
I'm not quite sure.
Better stay away from Baxter.
Just yeah, that's a good point. I just told him I was a dog guy. I thought it kind of set the tone for the rest of our relationship. But the smiles, as we talked about last night, were very evident in just about every word that came out of his mouth.
Oh, Jose Pereira pokes one down the right field line. John Jay's got it in the corner. Pereira has a double, his 20th this year. First hit for the Padres.
Well, we know Escobar likes to have fun, and there's enough guys in that clubhouse already that don't mind having a little fun, so it should be an interesting mix.
They were carefully observing him talking to the media, as you might imagine. And I'm just guessing, Bob, he's on fumes. He got here at 4 o'clock in the morning, but as I mentioned in the pregame show, that's where instinct and your process and adrenaline work in your favor, but I think that's all built in for him.
Well, he's been traded before, but boy, there's something about changing teams in mid-season.
Yeah.
You know, a whole new group of guys. Now, fortunately, he's got a couple guys that he's familiar with on the Diamondbacks already. But as we were talking about earlier, new clubhouse attendants, new ushers on the field, new camera guys down by the dugout. It's all a new experience, at least within the new environment. He's been through it all before. It's all very familiar to him, but it's going to take him a while to get to know names and who belongs where, and that always takes a little while mid-season.
I did observe him just going over just the function of the many different video outposts that they have in the clubhouse. Talking to Dave Magadan today, there's one that's inside about just Dave's process as the hitting coach and how he integrates a new player and what they might be familiar with in terms of the scouting report. If there's something maybe he really likes that they can add to that. So,
and terminology is always different too from coach to coach. They have different ways of phrasing the same thing. So it might take a while to learn the new vocabulary here in Arizona, but it's still baseball and he knows baseball.
And he had an interpreter with him, a Diamondbacks interpreter, and I thought he flew through the interviews with flying colors. And like I said, it was the joy that was being processed through him to us that was very clear to see and to feel. I'm glad you guys got a chance to see the end of that interview just moments ago. Steve, you okay?
Yeah, just doing some headset
rebuilding.
Rebuilding, yeah.
His ear fell off.
Headset broke. 1-2 on the catcher, Austin Hedges. I want to make sure I'm able to hear everything you're saying.
I'm sure you are. I was filibustering until you could hear, and now I'm done. But welcome back.
It's good to be here. What's happened? 2-2 on Hedges after the Pereira double. The pitcher Tyson Ross is on deck. Bullpen is quieted down after that bumpy ride in the second. Got to be careful with Hedges. He homered last night. He's homered in each of his last 2 games, in fact. Swing and a miss. There's another Corbin slider. And he has struck out 5 of the first 8 Padres tonight.
strikeout, retiring that 8-hitter and keeping Perela out there at second base for Tyson Ross. Good slider down. Looked like it was going to be somewhere around the middle of the strike zone, and as usual ends up in the dirt.
Here's the pitcher, Ross. Got the call on the low slider from Alfonso Marquez.
Tyson Ross 4 for 34 on the season for the Padres. He's driven in a couple, but he's punched out 15 of his 34 at bats. Patrick and Jeff Mathis are very selective when they use that fastball and who they use it against. You get Tyson Ross up there to the plate, you're more likely to possibly challenge him with a fastball, even with the runner in scoring position, than you are perhaps Will Myers or Hunter Renfroe with the runner out there at second base. Another fastball.
That's a good example right there of something that Mathis has encouraged Corbin to do, is work that fastball arm side away from righties. And do it a little more often and more consistently. It's made a big difference for Patrick this year against right-hand batters.
Well, we know in the past Patrick could bully righties inside with that fastball. We know that that hard slider to the back foot ends up inside a lot.
This is going to be a tough play. Escobar can't pick it up. A swing and bunt base hit for Ross. Perela has to stay put at second.
Good slider down and in. Ross just smothered it into the dirt out there in front of home plate. Turns into a swinging bunt to the left side. Escobar tried to make the bare hand play, but could not complete.
So 2 on and 1 out for the top of the order, Manuel Margot. He struck out to lead off the ball game for San Diego. He's got Perela at second and Ross at first. Always got to watch out, not in this situation maybe, but for the bunt with Margot. He's starting to use that a lot more often lately. There's the Zach Greinke curveball from Patrick Corbin. Under 70 miles an hour that time. Margot almost swung out of his shoes. That's a base hit to left field. This will get Perela home. It gets behind Peralta. Ross will stop at third. An RBI double for Manuel Margot, who's now hit safely in 9 straight games.
That slider just didn't quite get to the spot that time. You see Jeff Mathis sliding inside, wanted that ball down. It stayed up in the middle of the thighs on the inside part of the plate, and Margot bangs it down into the corner. A little bobble there by David, but didn't really hurt anything on the play. Margot was going to end up at second. Ross was going to hold up at third.
Second and third, 1 out. A run is home for Will Myers. And Myers shoots one to right center. That one reaches the wall. It scores 2. Myers is in at second.
The last couple base hits just biting off a little more strike zone than he probably should. That one was pretty much right down the middle of the plate. After leaving a slider up for Manuel Margot, Will Myers takes that fastball and drives it in the gap the other way to plate 2 more.
4-3 ball game. Mike Butcher out to the mound.
3 doubles in this inning against Patrick Corbin.
Been a little bit of a trend for the Diamondbacks. They score some runs. They have a big inning early in the game, first, second, third inning of the ball game. They'll put a crooked number up on the board, and then the offense kind of goes passive the rest of the ball game. The Padres are not going to allow that to happen tonight. They're going to need to score some more runs to beat this Padres team tonight.
Well, Corbin had set down the first 6 he faced, but San Diego has 4 hits and 3 runs in this inning and still just 1 out. Here's Renfroe, who struck out to end the first. Fastball is low. Thing to keep in mind about Patrick Corbin, about his start and win in Chicago Monday, was the fact he made that start with a few extra days rest coming off the All-Star break, more than a week in fact. And Patrick this year, the extra rest when he gets it has made an enormous difference. He's 1-4 on regular rest, 6-0 in all his other starts, and working tonight on normal 4 days rest.
Pretty stark difference right there. That's why a lot of teams are starting to at least kick around the idea of a 6-man rotation. If you've got a couple guys like Patrick Corbin in your rotation that could benefit from the extra rest, it might be something teams will go to in the future.
Yeah, Corbin's ERA on regular 4 days rest is more than double what his ERA is when he gets extra rest. 2 balls and 1 strike on Hunter Renfroe. Fastball misses in. It's 3-1. Hosmer on deck.
A dangerous pitch right here. This is a powerful hitter. He can miss-hit a ball and get it out of the ballpark. Definitely want to make your best pitch right here on this 3-1 count.
Went to the slider. Full count, 3-2.
I remember it was last year or maybe 2 years ago. Will Myers was running at second base for the Padres against the Diamondbacks, and I suggested that perhaps he was flashing signs to the hitter.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I talked to some people with the Padres that said there's no chance that could happen because Will Myers doesn't even know our signs.
Out to right field for Jay. Renfroe takes him to the warning track. Myers tags. He's in at third. 2 outs. Well, now Corbin will try and get Hosmer to chase some breaking balls, but he's got to make sure he keeps Myers down there at third and doesn't let it get behind Mathis.
Well, and that's a thought I'm sure is going through Jeff Mathis' mind as well. You know, we can get out of this inning with the lead if I make sure not to let anything get through here, because you know they're going to throw a bunch of sliders to Eric Hosmer.
And there's one right there. Hosmer has been squaring up fastballs this year, but that's about it. A lot of weak contact, a lot of swings and misses against breaking balls and off-speed pitches. Which is going to be one after another here.
And that's just 82-mile-an-hour, middle of the plate, just above the knees. If you don't hit that one, you're probably not going to hit this one. Probably bury this one in the dirt down low and away, I would expect.
Here it comes on 0-2.
Nice stop.
Been slow going for Hosmer lately. Here's another look at Mathis keeping Myers down there at third. Wood closes up that 5-hole and just squares his shoulder.
And knowing that the spin on the ball is going to cause it to bounce at a little bit of an angle, so he squared his shoulders to make sure that ball hit right in the middle of his body.
There's a dribbler to first. Goldie picks it up, and that ends the inning. But the Padres get 3. Through 3 innings, it's 4-3 Diamondbacks.
Drove a ball to the opposite field. He gets it behind in the count 0-2 right away, but then lays off some non-competitive pitches way out of the zone away. Lays off a ball in the dirt right there. Ultimately, Tyson Ross hangs a slider. He bangs it into right field. Got the D-backs started in this ball game tonight. Our nationwide vision eye on the game.
And Mathis starts off the 4th against Tyson Ross. Looks at a fastball for strike 1. So Jeff with that RBI single has now hit safely in 5 straight games. 7 of his last 8 right to Galvis at shortstop. That'll bring up Patrick Corbin.
And when you get back to the bench after lining out to a guy standing right in his track, somebody will always say, "Didn't you see him there?"
That's very helpful, isn't
yeah,
it?
well, it's all part of that camaraderie that goes on in that dugout. Didn't you see him? Abner put him there.
Patrick had an RBI single in that 4-run D-back second inning against Ross. Slider in the dirt. Dodgers in Atlanta. They lead the Braves 3-1. They're in the 7th inning. Rockies hosting Oakland. It's 2-1 Colorado in the second. Giants trailing again at home against Milwaukee. Brewers lead 3-0. They're in the 3rd. Odd move by the Brewers. They picked up Mike Moustakas, and they're going to have Travis Shaw play second base, their all-star third baseman. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. I know they wanted Moustakas' bat, but that's, I think, really puts a crimp in their infield defense. I don't know about Travis Shaw at second.
Things that make you go,
Yeah. D-backs trailing the Brewers for that first National League wild card spot. You got to keep a close eye on Milwaukee and Atlanta. Those are the 2 teams closest to the Diamondbacks in terms of the wild card. Corbin knocks it into center. He's 2 for 2.
A D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
The D-backs, game and a half back of LA for the division lead. Rockies are 2 back at 6.5 now for the Giants. Here's John Jay. He's got a single and an RBI tonight. John Jay acquired first week of June from Kansas City. Since then, he's been hit by pitches 12 times. That leads the majors.
Is that all? Seems like more.
Doesn't it, though? 12 times he's been hit by pitches in less than 2 months. This is pushed to shortstop. Varela can't turn it as Hosmer can't make the backhand scoop.
Looked like a double play ball. Galvis gets rid of it quickly. Strong feed to Perela. He just spikes it in the dirt over there to Hosmer at first, who's usually pretty adept at picking those throws out of the dirt, but that one gets away for a fielder's choice.
Well, let's see if Goldie can take advantage. He has struck out. He's got an RBI single. Fastball misses in, a ball and a strike. Alfonso Marquez, that's a typical Alfonso Marquez non-call. He is the plate umpire, the crew chief. He's very much a by-the-book strike caller. He's worked for the last 5 postseasons, but usually does not give you pitches either just above the strike zone or just below. That was a low borderline pitch. Goldie swings and misses a fastball right there. It's 2-2.
That's the one that always makes me scratch my head. That 90, 91, 92, right down the middle, and Goldie swings right through it. I mean, he might hit a slider at the knees on the outside corner. He might hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside corner, but for some reason, that pitch is invisible.
He just swung and missed at 2 of them. It's 4-3 D-backs. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Yasiel Puig back off the DL for the Dodgers, and there it goes. In Atlanta against the Braves. LA has a 3-1 lead. They're in the 8th. A game and a half ahead of the Diamondbacks atop the NL West.
And Yasiel Puig just completed his home run trial.
What are you saying? Here's Villanueva. They don't need Yasiel Puig. They got Max Muncy.
Yeah, really?
Villanueva struck out his first time tonight. 3 infielders on the third base side against him. He's down 0-2. That's in the 8th inning now. Rockies lead Oakland 2-1. Giants trailing Milwaukee 3-0. Always got to be careful with Villanueva. 13 home runs this year against left-hand pitchers. That leads the major leagues. Got him to chop at that slider below the knees. 1-2. Villanueva's offensive numbers a little bit deceiving. He got a tremendous start this year. 328 home runs in the first month of the year. But since the end of April, he's batting 187.
That's called advanced scouting.
Stop doing this when you face Christian Villanueva, and everybody listened. And
you can go out and ambush teams when they don't know a lot about you, don't have an established book on where the weaknesses are. What pitches will you chase with 2 strikes? What pitches will you take on 3-1? And the league is kind of caught up to Villanueva a little bit. He's still a very dangerous hitter if you make mistakes in that strike zone, especially middle of the plate in.
Yeah, he got his first look at the big leagues last season. Played in just a dozen games, but hit .344 and 4 homers. Made a lot of noise in April, but he's been quiet since. Galvis on deck. Here's the 3-2. This is a guy who played 8 years in the minor leagues before he got his first big league call-up last year. Out of Guadalajara, Mexico. And Patrick lost the handle on that slider. That's his first base on balls. And work to Galvis. Now Galvis has been very productive lately. He grounded out to end the second, his first at bat today. But he's got 11 hits and 10 RBIs in his last 9 games.
I'll tell you, Freddie Galvis, as we talked about earlier, very steady, very confident player in his own abilities, but he's no Eric Ibar. It seemed like every time we came in here in the past to play the Padres, Eric Ibar would hit a home run or do something crazy to beat the Diamondbacks.
Remember, he had a home run against Greinke, 7th, 8th inning one night that ruined a beautiful game that Zach was pitching. There's that slow curveball, slow breaking ball.
One of those guys, it seems like every team that you play against has a guy that you just can't seem to get him out for some reason. Comes up with big hits, but bats about 110 against the rest of the league.
Well, Padres have run through some shortstops lately. Ibar and Alexei Ramirez and Clint Balmas. This year it's Galvis who'll be a free agent at the end of the season as they await the arrival of Fernando Tatis Jr., who I believe just hurt his finger or hand the other day and is out for the rest of the year. Their minor league prospect shortstop. No, he didn't. That's Brian Knight down there, 1-2.
Fernando Tatis Jr.'s daddy hit 2 grand slams in the same inning, wasn't it, against Chan-Ho Park, the Dodgers, I believe.
Fernando Tatis, he had some big time power when he made contact.
It sure did.
Goldie at first. No chance to get Villanueva. They'll settle for 1 out. As Galvis moves the runner along, brings up Pirela. Pirela doubled and scored to start that 3-run San Diego third. And he has been a problem for Patrick Corbin, now 5 for 8 in his career against Corbin, including 3 doubles. Way out in front of that slow breaking ball, 1-1.
Back-to-back slow breaking balls that time. Missed with the first one, comes right back with it again. Pirela way out in front that time.
Bullpen busy once again for the Padres. Robert Stock, the right-hander. We saw him in the ball game last night. He threw 2 innings. He's able to check his swing. 2 balls and 1 strike. Pirela made a big splash last year. Hit about 290, 10 home runs in just about half a season. But hasn't done a whole lot this year. Every time we saw him last season, you looked up, he had a double, a triple. He's doing something.
He was a beat the streak go-to guy last year.
He was. Whip shot back to the mound. Corbin looks Villanueva back to the bag. 2 outs. Brings up the catcher, Austin Hedges. A little careless whisper for you, Vivi.
Unfortunately, they're going to let him play for a while because Mike Butcher's on his way out to the mound, so you might get to hear the whole song.
Unfortunately?
That's not one of the songs I play on my guitar right back in the room. Let's just put it that way.
Too many chords.
This is probably a strategy meeting more than anything else. You got Austin Hedges at the plate, obviously a dangerous hitter, a guy that can hurt you with 1 swing of the bat. You also have a base open at first with 2 outs in the inning and the pitcher spot on deck. The question is, do you want Tyson Ross out of the ball game? You might want to bear down, go right after Austin Hedges right here, hopefully get him out.
See Torey Lovello on the bullpen phone.
Yeah, Ross would probably go back out to start the next half inning, but we won't know for sure until we see what happens here.
Well, Patrick trying to strand that leadoff walk. Villanueva at second, 2 outs. Hedges struck out his first time. Homered here last night. That was the first batter Matt Andriese faced as a Diamondback, and Hedges took him way out into the bullpen out there, near the bullpen in left center field. Well, it looked like Patrick was on his way to another dominant performance. Retired the first 6 he faced, 4 by strikeout, but he's really had to work, and now at 70 pitches through 3 2/3. San Diego got 3 runs in that 27-pitch third inning. Just kind of nibbling with Hedges here. Ross on deck, as you mentioned.
go ahead and send him down to first base here. I mean, Hedges is an aggressive hitter. I'm sure the Diamondbacks were hoping that maybe he would chase some of those offerings right there, fall behind in the count, and then you have the option of trying to put him away. But he's just going to send him on down to first base, and Tyson Ross will indeed take the at bat. I thought Andy Green might fire a pinch hitter in there right here, but let his pitcher take this at bat.
Stock is still up and throwing in the bullpen. But Ross will hit. 2 on and 2 out. I guess thinking about Perdomo's 2 1/3 last night, you look back at some long men in the Padre bullpen. Andy Green might be a little handcuffed here. Robbie Erlin threw 3 2/3 last night. Stock worked 2 innings. Phil Hughes pitched an inning. Snuck that one through the back door, and it's 0-2. Foul over there. Josh Johnson coaching at third for the Padres in this series as Glenn Hoffman is in Cooperstown. His brother Trevor is getting inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame tomorrow. Along with and some others. Get off me.
I will say this, the pitchers in this ball game are a combined 3 for 3.
How about that, huh?
Patrick Corbin with a couple of singles, including an RBI single in that second. And Tyson Ross with a little chopper to the left side that he was able to leg out for an infield hit.
Not making it easy on Patrick. Up the middle and into center. This will tie the ball game. Villanueva scores. Hedges at third. Tyson Ross 2 for 2, and we're tied at 4.
Well, that's not a bad pitch below the knees. You can see Jeff Mathis was getting prepared to block that ball as it ended up in the dirt, but instead Tyson Ross golfs it into center field for an RBI base hit. Go figure.
Both starting pitchers 2 for 2 as hitters, and each one has an RBI. D-backs led at 4-0. Now we're all even. Here's the leadoff man, Manuel Margot, who had an RBI double and scored in that 3-run San Diego third. Margot homered last night against Zach Greinke. Second, Descalso sticks the glove out there and saves a run. But the Padres get the equalizer. We're tied at 4 in San Diego.
We're saluting members of the 20th anniversary team. Tonight it's Steve Finley's turn. 6 seasons with the Diamondbacks from '99 to '04. Was as solid as you can possibly imagine out there in center field and at the plate. We talked about the center field position for the Diamondbacks throughout their history. Devon White, Steve Finley, Chris Young, A.J. Pollock. Been very, very blessed to have some of the best, most athletic, fastest center fielders in all of baseball.
Yeah, both Steve Finley and A.J. Pollock on that 20th anniversary team. David Peralta will lead it off here, and appropriately also, Steve Finley, once an all-star outfielder here in San Diego. He played 19 years in the major league, Steve Finley. David 0 for 2. He starts off the 5th against Tyson Ross. D-backs led it 4-0 after 2. Padres 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and now it's 4-4. D-backs fans here once again in San Diego. Ran into a bunch out there in the concourse. Enjoying the ballpark and the weather here in San Diego. A lot of D-back jerseys at Petco Park tonight. David with a 5-game hit streak on the line tonight. He's hit safely in 6 of 7. Peralta, Pollock, Escobar 3, 4, and 5 in the Diamondback 5th. Fastball misses away, and it's full 3-2. Ross so far has walked 3, struck out 2. They get 4 walks. The first 3 walked in the 2nd. They all scored. Now Peralta aboard to start the 5th. There's AJ 0 for 2.
You know, in an odd kind of way, the Diamondbacks are perhaps benefiting from seeing Tyler Chatwood just the other day, a guy that was spraying it all over the place, couldn't find the strike zone consistently. And when you see 2 similar pitchers in such a close time period, occasionally you just go back to the same approach you used against Chatwood. Make him throw it right down the middle.
AJ trying to bunt his way on, fouls it back to the screen. And Chatwood pitched Thursday afternoon, walked 6 in 4 2/3.
It takes a completely different mindset when you're facing a guy like Chatwood or like Tyson Ross tonight that just can't seem to consistently put the ball where he wants to. You want to be aggressive as a hitter. You want to drive in runs. You want to get on base for the guys behind you. Sometimes the best way to do it is not to swing.
Well, Ross has occasionally grooved some fastballs right down the middle. That was a slider there. It's 0-2. There's the fastball, snuck it in there. That's a strike, says Alfonso Marquez. AJ 0 for 3.
Called third strike is a direct result of the past history that he has with Tyson Ross, knowing that usually with 2 strikes, Ross is going to throw you sliders until he gets you out or walks you. AJ that time took a hittable fastball on that inside corner for strike 3.
Eduardo Escobar has walked and flied out 0 for 1. His D-back debut tonight, the third baseman. Switch hitter bats from the left-hand side. Escobar this year has been very tough on right-hand pitching. He is slugging nearly 600 versus righties. And the D-backs at times this year have struggled against right-hand pitching, so he should really help out.
There's a big hole on the right side right now. If you can get a pitch on that inside part of the plate. hook it through that hole, we'd have runners at first and third.
Yeah, this guy's a very solid gap-to-gap type hitter, a tough at bat from the left side. Leads the major leagues with 37 doubles. And he slams that to right field. Renfroe runs it down. Peralta back to the bag at first. Escobar gave it a ride, but it's out number 2. Here's Ketel Marte. He has walked and doubled. Not only do we have 2 switch hitters in the lineup tonight, they're batting back-to-back in the order, 5th and 6th. This is the first time the Diamondbacks have had 2 switch hitters in the starting lineup since August of 2015. Wow. Cliff Pennington and Jared Saltalamacchia.
That attempt to get Peralta back to the bag is thrown away. Pereira picks it up on the line. And David's in at second.
That could turn out to be a big 90 feet right there. Very casual pickoff attempt that time by Ross. Very casual catch attempt by Eric Hosmer over there at first base.
It is E1, the error on the pitcher Ross.
1-1 on Marte. This is in with a fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
See if Ross continues to come inside to Ketel Marte. He's throwing a couple of fastballs back to back, either on the inside corner or farther in.
Dave McKay with those quick infielder hands at first. Marte just missed a home run here last night, hit the ball off the wall in deep right center. That was his RBI double, part of a 6-run D-back third. Air was a lot heavier last night than it is tonight. We had that heavy marine layer overhead. Nice and clear here tonight.
Game time, what, an hour and a half earlier tonight. Might see the marine layer before the evening is over.
Center field, Margot backing up a few steps. He's got it. And Ross drains the leadoff walk. Bottom 5 at Petco Park. We're tied at 4. Padres even at 4. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. The series finale tomorrow. Clay Buchholz on the mound for the Diamondbacks against left-hander Joey Lucchesi. That goofy windup. Diamondback Live pregame show at 12:30. First pitch at 1:10 on Fox Sports Arizona. Will Myers leads off the Padre fifth. A 2-run double his last time up. He's 1 for 2. D-backs put 3 infielders on the third base side against Myers. Strikeouts are once again starting to pile up for Will Myers. He's punched out 22 times in his last 52 at bats. He finished second in the National League in strikeouts last year. Struck out a couple of times in the ballgame last night. Corbin buries that fastball in there for a strike, and it's 2-2.
I'm not sure what the threshold is or the limit for something to be called an ephus pitch, but Patrick threw a 68-mile-an-hour breaking ball in this at bat.
I've seen a couple of those tonight. There's the slider to the back foot, and Myers strikes out. 6 strikeouts for Corbin.
The day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACS50 at papajohns.com.
Yeah, he's taken that slow slider or curveball and sort of taken it to the next Zach Greinke level where that velocity is under 70 miles an hour. I guess it works for Greinke. Why not try it?
Yeah, I mean, at first for Patrick, it seemed a little bit like a novelty pitch, just something to throw. There's 69 with a big slow curveball that time, just to show it once in a while. But as he's thrown it more and more, he's gained more confidence in it. He's got great command of it. It's become a real weapon for him.
And then you back it up with that hard slider to the back foot of the right-hand hitter. All those pitches set up by his fastball to either side of the plate. 0-2 on Renfroe. And he makes short work of Hunter Renfroe. Strikes him out for the second time tonight. Corbin's punched out 7.
There are nights when Patrick's feeling that slider and really getting on top of it and getting that downward movement down toward the back foot of the right-handed hitter. You just get the feeling he could throw it in there underneath the bat whenever he wants to.
Jose Castillo, the left-hander, warming up quickly in the Padre bullpen. Just missed inside with that breaking ball to Hosmer, who has struck out, grounded out 0 for 2.
You got to be careful in there. Middle of the plate and away with that slider to Hosmer has been very effective so far tonight.
Hosmer hitting only about 200 versus left-handers this year. He has homered twice against lefties. Patrick at 90 pitches, 60 strikes. There's a tapper. Descalso has to charge. A little shovel toss to Goldie. Corbin works a 1-2-3 fifth. We're tied at 4 at Petco Park.
for a little guy. He hit that home run against us last year, and I saw him a little bit in the American League when I was over there. And Tim Laker, my assistant, was with him in Chicago when he was with the White Sox. So we got a little history on him, and you know, he's just what he's got. I noticed it today, looking at him more closely, is that, you know, he's a switch hitter. Obviously, he has a very similar swing from both sides of the plate, which is something you don't normally see from a switch hitter. So same kind of setup and everything. So you don't see that a whole lot. So it makes it a lot easier to work with switch hitters when they're very consistent from both sides of the plate. So we'll see. He's going to help us win some games.
Topmost back here at Petco Park. Dave Magadan, hitting coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Steve and Bob, our complete and comprehensive coverage of Eduardo Escobar's first game in a Diamondback uniform continues. But as the first pitch is delivered in this inning and it's called strike, I talked to Dave just moments after batting practice ended, and I just thought that was kind of a fascinating take on what he observed the first time out, especially that aspect, Bob, of the switch hitting and the similarity on both sides of the plate.
Yeah, we just saw it in Chicago with Ben Zobrist. We were having some fun with his stance from the right side as opposed to the left side, completely different. And it is rather odd when you get a switch hitter that is a mirror image. I think they strive to do that, but it's not an easy thing to do.
Here's Eduardo Escobar, new pitcher for the Padres. The left-hander Jose Castillo. Descalso leads off the sixth. And Daniel knocks it into right center field. Renfroe with a jump throw in dead center, and give him credit, he holds Descalso to a long single. Hunter Renfroe with a Derek Jeter jump throw out near the warning track in center field.
We've talked about Hunter Renfroe in past games against the Padres. He's got a big arm, especially when he can get his legs underneath him. I haven't seen this particular move before. From deep in right center field, a jump throw on one hop right to the bag at second. Descalso has to head back to first.
That looked like a sure double. And Renfroe makes a hustling play. Not one you'll see probably again for a while. Here's Mathis. Jose Castillo just off the 10-day DL today. He'd been out with a right hamstring strain. Mathis had an RBI single in the second. We're talking to Todd about Escobar and the ability to switch hit. He's very good from either side of the plate. Ketel Marte is not quite there yet, and that seems to be the difference between the two switch hitters in the lineup. Ketel this year has been much better from the right side than the left.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about Willie McGee when we reference switch hitters. Willie McGee, one of the best switch hitters during his playing time, and he used to talk all the time about he never felt good from both sides at the same time. He might get hot left-handed and the right-handed swing would disappear for a while, and then vice versa. He'd get hot from the right side and he couldn't find it from the left side. Willie McGee always walked to the plate like he was trying to sneak up and not be noticed.
He tiptoed from the on-deck circle. So Castillo gives up a base hit to the lefty, walks the righty. And let's see, here comes Patrick Corbin from the on-deck circle. Patrick will take the at-bat.
Some last verbal instructions from Torey Lovullo before Patrick heads up to take the at-bat. You would assume he's going to put down a sac bunt, but I don't know. He's got 2 knocks and an RBI already.
Yeah, the two starting pitchers that combined 4 for 4 at the plate in this ball game. 4 singles and 2 runs batted in. First and second, nobody out here in the Diamondback 6th. Corbin shows bunt. That brings in Hosmer from first. Last time 2 starting pitchers each had at least 2 hits in a game. Diamondbacks also involved May of 2016, Corbin and Cole. Villanueva kitty cornered in front of the bag at third. Hosmer creeping in from first. Wheel play is on.
I think that was actually a decoy of the wheel play. We see Freddie Galvis do this quite often. He'll break toward third base like the 2 corner infielders are going to charge, and he's going to cover the bag at third, and then he'll stop.
Tony Perez-Chica going to take this opportunity to talk to Corbin one-on-one. There's Galvis right there, breaking for third and holding. Another mound visit for the Padres.
Generally, first and second sack bunt situation with the pitcher at the plate, you try to read the defense, and usually you read the shortstop. If he stays in his position or around the bag at second, it's probably safe to bunt the ball to the third base side.
Greg Stammen warming up quickly in the Padre bullpen. Corbin squares, pulls back. Oh, Alfonso Marquez, a good strike caller, missed that one. Either that or Corbin didn't pull back in time. 2 balls and a strike. This time Galvis runs all the way to third. That was the wheel play. It's a strike on Corbin, 2-2. Wheel play corners crash. You leave second base unoccupied. So Galvis has to go back to his spot at shortstop.
The idea is you try to bait that pitcher at the plate to bunt the ball to the third base side where Villanueva was charging that time, and try to get the lead runner at third base.
Patrick fouls off the bunt attempt and strikes out. Cannot advance the runners. 1 down in the 6th. Here's John Jay.
You know, with the sacrifice bunt and the hit and run and the stolen base becoming more and more obsolete in the game of baseball, that bunt defense play might become obsolete as well. You know,
I sure hope not. It can't all be about strikeouts and home runs. That's just not good.
We saw the Padres with just about every option there is during the course of that Patrick Corbin at bat. Some fake wheel plays, some legitimate wheel plays.
John Jay has singled. He's got an RBI. He's hitting about .230 versus lefties this year. Got Stammen, the right-hander, warming up in the bullpen. Goldie on deck. Descalso at second, Mathis at first. Jay bunts it, foul down the line. Just missed a beauty.
Boy, good idea with Goldie in the on-deck circle. Villanueva was playing way back. Ball just trickled into foul territory that time. Boy, if that stays fair, he can just walk to first base. But just a little too much side English that time.
Well, Jose Castillo, the pitcher's done pretty well in these situations. Opponents only 2 for 19 against him with runners on base. Ahead of Jay, 1-2. That one is foul. That almost was one of Jay's signature punches down the left field line. He's had a number of those this year. Kind of drops it in over the head of the third baseman. D-back fan got it.
Yeah. Don't leave her hanging. Don't leave him hanging. There you go. Hedges feels, but I know when I used to be behind the plate and you had a veteran with a reputation like Daniel Descalso at second base, peering in at every sign you hang down for that opposing pitcher, and the longer the at bat goes, the more paranoid I got. I mean, Descalso does not take his eyes off that catcher as he takes his primary lead off second base.
Fastball missed. It's 2-2.
You know, ideally you see enough signs that you can determine what they're using. First sign, second sign, first sign after two, some other variation. But at worst, you'd like to at least give location to the hitter, which will give him an idea of what pitch might be coming. That's why catchers try to set up so late. They don't want to tip anything to that runner at second base.
All right, Hedges moves those fingers so fast. I don't know how Castillo even sees what the sign is.
Generally, with a runner at second base, if a pitcher shakes off the initial sign, most teams go first sign when they have to go through another sequence.
Got the fastball and missed it. I would think you catchers are great typists, the way you can maneuver those fingers.
If it weren't for the foul balls, we probably all would be good typists.
Right. Knuckles are still swollen.
Tend to hit the same keys.
And now they're going to have to earn a mound visit here. This figures to be Castillo's final hitter, with Goldie on deck and Stam, the right-hander, ready in the bullpen.
When you think about if John Jay could find a way to reach first base and move everybody up 90 feet, then you've got Jeff Mathis peering in at Austin Hedges' signs from second base.
You catchers are a paranoid lot. Typical John Jay at bat, still 2-2. Lifts it to right center field. Renfroe running over there. Descalso holds at second. Here comes Goldie. Andy Green coming out from the Padre dugout. When we come back, it'll be 2 on and 2 out for Goldie. Tied at 4 at San Diego. ASU and U of A nights at Chase Field. Get a custom Sun Devils or Wildcats cap and a discounted baseline reserve ticket, all for only $25 with our special event ticket pack. ASU night August 21, U of A September 6. Check out dbacks.com/events. Diamondbacks threatening 2 on 2 out in the 6th inning. Goldie the hitter, and here's the right-hander Craig Stammen, who's had a very good year. His 46th appearance, a 2.70 ERA. A lot of folks think Stammen will be the next guy to get traded before Tuesday's deadline for the Padre bullpen. They've already traded a couple of their best relievers. Goldie had an RBI single in that 4-run Diamondback second. He struck out twice, 1 for 3. He's got Descalso at second, Mathis at first, and 2 outs. Stammen would be a very nice piece for a contending team that needed some bullpen depth. He can be a very quality setup guy. Get you some big outs, 6th, 7th, 8th inning. Behind on Goldie, 2-0. One thing you don't like about Craig Stammen, when there's no one on base, batters are hitting .204 against him. With runners on base, that batting average is up to almost .290. Caught a seam with that fastball. 2 balls and 1 strike.
A little bit of crossfire action out on the mound. A lot of tailing action as that ball got there to the outside corner.
Slider missed. It's 3-1. Peralta on deck. Takes a fastball. Full count, 3-2. That's a pretty hittable pitch right there on 3-1.
That's one we were talking about in a previous at bat for Goldie, that lately he's been swinging right through. That low 90s fastball catches plenty of the strike zone. Took that one for a called strike.
Runners on the move. Goldie hits a bouncer to shortstop. Galvez collects it and throws him out. So Stammen comes in, strands 2, keeps it 4-4 at Petco Park. At 4. Don't forget, fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. It's brought to you locally by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the free app and take Fox Sports Arizona and your D-backs with you wherever you go. A lot of D-backs fans have made their way to San Diego this weekend.
Yeah, it's one D-backs fan that didn't make the trip. One of my staff back in Phoenix just sent me a text. Patrick Corbin, 91 pitches. That's number 92 right there. 46 sliders, 13 curveballs in those 91 pitches. Now, on the slider, he's had 29 swings, 16 swings and misses. On the other hand, Tyson Ross, who is also a slider pitcher, had 3 swings and misses on his slider all night.
We mentioned that at the beginning of the show. Corbin more than twice as many swings and misses usually as Ross has been getting with his slider, even though Ross throws it more than anyone else in baseball. Escobar at third. That's 5 in a row set down by Corbin. Brings up Freddie Galvis. Third time through the order for Corbin. He's retired every man he's faced. Galvis 0 for 2. Galvis in San Diego after 6 seasons with the Phillies. Picked up in December. He'll hit the free agent market this winter. 28 years old. Popped up. Nobody can find it, and it drops behind Descalso. I think he thought Marte was going to get it in the last moment. It's still a light sky up there. Cattell made that signal. I can't find it. And by then it was too late.
Well, that's too bad. That should have been an out, obviously. A little pop up into shallow center field. Marte playing the shift, had a long way to go. He never saw it. You see the palms up. Descalso tries to recover. He can't get to the spot. Corbin's going to have to pitch around that 1-out double.
Galvis hustling, standing at second base now. Pirela has doubled and grounded out. Here comes Mike Butcher.
Now this looks like the kind of meeting to get somebody going in the bullpen.
Yeah, there's some action. Guys jumping up down there now. Well, that's too bad. Corbin was really locked in. 5 straight retired. Archie Bradley.
That's where baseball will defy the analytics sometime. I mean, the exit velocity couldn't have been really good on that pop-up. The launch angle was not good, but he hit it at the right time of day. Tough sky right now. Diamondbacks could not find that ball.
Floats that slow breaker up there for a strike. Galvis down there, the go-ahead run with a 1-out. Another swing and miss at a Corbin slider. It's 0-2. Pirela's been a problem. 5 for 9 career against Corbin. Boy, that pitch is really working tonight.
Well, that was a great at bat right there for a couple of different reasons. We're going to show you the pitch by pitch. There are only 3 pitches in the sequence, but watch the first curveball and how deep Jeff Mathis catches it. That ball was out of the strike zone, but because he let it travel an extra 6 or 8 inches before catching the ball, he got the called strike from Alfonso Marquez behind the plate. That's part of what we talk about with framing. It's not always dragging the ball back to the corner. Sometimes you catch it way out front. Sometimes you catch it very deep, and that time, because Mathis caught it deep, he got the call. Our nationwide vision eye on the game. He followed that curveball up with a couple of devastating sliders.
Pitch number 100 for Patrick on the way. It's Austin Hedges who has struck out and walked. Pitcher spot is up next. Reyes in the on deck circle for the Padres. Fastball in, missed, 1-0. Is that what they call depth to your slider?
Yeah, well, yeah. But for a catcher, it's especially effective on those pitches that are in the zone and then they're going to go out of the zone. You want to catch those as far forward toward home plate as you possibly can before they get out of the strike zone. Pitches like that first curveball, you want to let it get deep because it wasn't in the strike zone, but by letting it travel an extra 6 or 8 inches, it gives the appearance that the ball was on the plate. Reaching out or letting it come to you.
Patrick behind 2 balls and no strikes on Austin Hedges. Got that fastball in there, 2-1. Bullpen busy once again for San Diego. Strom, the left-hander. That's out of play. Patrick trying to pick up his defenders behind him. All the foul balls going to D-backs fans here tonight. You like that?
You know D-backs fans are the best fielders in baseball.
Right.
We see it at Chase Field all the time.
2-2. Escobar in front of Marte at shortstop, and Corbin strands Galvis at second. We are through 6. D-backs and Padres tied at 4. Sixth inning and keep it a 4-4 ball game. Fans, D-backs 2019 season tickets on sale right now. Lock them in. You can get guaranteed seats to all the big matchups next year and for the lowest price possible. Give us a call, 602-462-4600, or log on to dbacks.com/tickets. 2019 D-backs season tickets on sale right now. David Peralta leads off the Diamondbacks 7th against right-hander Craig Stammen. David walked his last time up. He's 0 for 2. We flash back, Stammen v. Peralta, and there it goes.
Ooh. Tried to come inside. David just a little too quick that night.
That was last May here at Petco Park.
You know, you'd think I would remember by now. I guess that's one of the penalties of aging, but Craig Stammen is from North Star, Ohio, and every time we see him, I have to look it up.
Where is it?
It's a little northwest of Dayton, very close to the Ohio-Indiana line, as Peralta grounds one to second base. Should be no problem. One down. And Looked it up online. Population of North Star, Ohio, 236 people.
Salute.
It literally is just a crossroads. I would venture to guess that he's the only major league player from North Star, Ohio.
How close to Coshocton?
It's got a considerable distance, probably 2.5 hours, I would say, straight west.
Well, sounds like it's worth the trip.
Oh, yeah.
AJ 0 for 3.
Craig Stammen's birthplace.
Yes. Probably says as you drive into North Star, hometown of Padre great Craig Stammen.
It's funny you mentioned that. I've told this story in the past, but former Dodger manager Jim Tracy is a big-time deer hunter. Coshocton County, where I grew up, is one of the best places in the world to hunt white-tailed deer. So Jim Tracy, along with several of his coaches, every winter would go to Coshocton, Ohio to hunt deer. And there's a sign as you come into the city limits. It mentions a couple of other famous people in Coshocton history, but every time he stops with a bottle of Windex and a rag and has a picture taken with him cleaning the sign where my name is.
That's very nice of him.
It is. Part of the reason I picked him for my coaching staff for the All-Star game in 02.
So it worked out. Kind of like that Adopt a Mile Highway program. You can get out there like Kramer and make the lanes a little wider. And the D-backs, same problem, if you want to use that word, they had last night, a 6-run third. And only had a couple of base hits after that. Tonight, 4 runs in the second. They haven't scored since. In fact, they have only, let's see, 3 base hits since that second inning. And AJ chases a low fastball, strikes out.
Combination of throwing across his body, kind of hides the ball well. You don't really see anything coming toward home plate until the very last instant, and then that late sinking action that Stammen has on that fastball. That's a devastating combination.
Eduardo Escobar, his D-backs debut. He walked and scored in that second. Last time up, he lined out hard and deep to right field. Renfroe made a nice running grab. Patrick Corbin, 6 innings. He's given up 4 runs, 6 hits. He's walked 2. He struck out 8. That's a base hit for Eduardo Escobar, his first as a Diamondback, a 2-out single in the 7th. On board for the second time tonight.
Like a little cut fastball down over the heart of the plate and hooks it through that hole on the right side. Congratulations, first of many.
Escobar's a pretty good bad ball hitter. He'll chase outside the strike zone more often than most guys. Marte has walked, doubled, and scored. 1 for 2.
And who else used to do that a lot? Guy that's going into the Hall of Fame tomorrow.
Vladimir Guerrero. Pretty impressive class with the Vlad and Chipper and Trevor Hoffman. Some other guys.
Jim Thome.
Yeah. And of course, Alan Trammell, former Tiger great, D-back coach. Jack Morris.
Alan Trammell's been very outspoken of the fact that he feels Lou Whitaker, his double play partner, should go in the Hall of Fame right along with him. That's something you just will not see in baseball probably ever again.
Oh, Stammen reached out and got that one and kept it from getting into center field. Stranding the 2-out single. We stretch in San Diego, still tied at 4. Join the celebration of the Diamondbacks' 20th anniversary team next Saturday, August 4. Enjoy a pregame celebration with the members of the 20th anniversary team. Get the t-shirt courtesy of Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Gates open at 1:30 for the annual alumni game presented by Sanderson Ford. Then at 5:10, it's the D-backs and the San Francisco Giants. All the info's at dbacks.com. Archie Bradley on to start the bottom of the 7th inning in relief of Patrick Corbin. 51st appearance of the year. Pitcher spot leads it off for the Padres, and Travis Jankowski's off the bench. He will hit for the pitcher, Stammen. Starts him off with that curveball and steals strike one. Jankowski 250s, homered twice. Got the start last night, single, 1 for 4. That one off Archie, knocks it down, recovers and throws him out. And right away signals to the dugout that he's just fine.
It's a big first out. Obviously in a tie game, the first out of any inning is big, but keeping Jankowski off the base is one of the faster Padre runners. Hit that bullet right back to Archie, just knocked it down like he was swatting flies out there on the mound, threw him out at first.
Roy Lavello checking in with the
couldn't quite read what it said on the phone.
I think that might be actually the video phone, not the bullpen. Here's Manuel Margot. There's a strike with a fastball. Margot, an RBI double in the third, 1 for 3. Sends this out to John Jay in right field. Quickly 2 down.
It was one of those humpback line drives. You wondered if John Jay was going to have issues with the lights. Not nearly as much of a problem here at Petco Park as it used to be over at old Jack Murphy Qualcomm Stadium. Those lights were extremely low. A lot of outfielders had issues with the lights over there.
Yeah, this ballpark is a lovely ballpark. It's a pretty deep bowl. The lights are up pretty high. Myers, a 2-run double in the third, 1 for 3. There's that curveball for another strike one. There's a view. A gorgeous evening here in San Diego, Petco Park. Archie tried to double up on that curveball, spiked it that time.
Well, we talked about it the other day. Archie hasn't been using that curveball nearly as much. He had some issues with the fingernail. I think those are all behind him now. But yeah, we basically just pounding fastballs against everybody he's faced recently. But more curveballs here against the Padres tonight.
Right-hander Phil Maton warming up at the San Diego pen after they hit for Stammen. Fastball missed. And Myers is ahead, 2 balls and 1 strike. Myers is a guy who was up there hunting high fastballs. That's an approach he's worked on a lot with the Padres' new hitting coach, Matt Stairs. He's looking for something up with heat that he can drive to right center field. On the ground is short. Pretty stop and spin by Ketel Marte. And Archie Bradley works a quick 1-2-3-7, still tied at Petco Park.
friendly. And there is a look at number 51, Trevor Hoffman. Obviously, you guys were talking about the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies tomorrow in Cooperstown. I know that he just was a part of the parade down Main Street. And on tomorrow's Diamondbacks Live pregame show, guys, we have a number of angles on the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies that we'll be celebrating, including one that involves Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo and his connection to Alan Trammell and Jack Morris. Interesting to look back at Torey's major league debut, guys, against the New York Yankees while he was a member of the Tigers. Jack Morris was the starting pitcher. Alan Trammell was playing in that game as Torey came in as a defensive replacement pinch hitter. Across the way, two more Hall of Famers, Dave Winfield and Ricky Henderson, and the Hall of Fame manager, Sparky Anderson. He's got a great story about that one.
Sparky always talked up Torey Lovullo when Torey was coming up for the minors. Phil Maton, the new pitcher for the Padres. Descalso leads off the eighth.
I'm pretty sure Torey was one of those guys. Every spring, Sparky would have a guy, and he would say, if you don't like this guy, you don't like baseball. Every year it'd be somebody different. I think Torey was one of those guys one year.
Yeah, he was. And Descalso punches that one into right center. D-backs have the go-ahead run on to lead off the eighth against Maton. Here comes Mathis.
One final note on tomorrow, guys. Trevor Hoffman, first Arizona Wildcat to be enshrined in Cooperstown, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and celebrate.
You had to get that in.
I did.
Yeah.
I actually used to be the public address announcer, if you can believe it, when he was playing, and I used to be able to say, "Short Trevor Hoffman." You know, not quite like that. I had a lot of echo and stuff, and feedback and reverb, and we're going to go down that. We're going to go down that road. Trust me. Okay.
Here's Mathis. Villanueva creeping in from third.
We're talking about Trammell and Whitaker. I mentioned it half an inning ago that Alan Trammell was hoping that Lou Whitaker could go into the Hall of Fame with him. And when you think about a double play combination that played together for 19 years.
Amazing, huh?
How many shortstops and second base prospects that came up through that Tigers organization never got a sniff of the big leagues because of those two?
Breaking ball missed upstairs. Pitcher spot up next. Chris Owings in the on-deck circle for the D-backs. And now Tony Perez-Chica will check in with Mathis.
We've talked about it with Goldie and the Diamondbacks. Can you imagine if you were a first baseman in the D-backs organization over the last 5 years? Well,
Christian Walker.
Yeah, have a good year in AAA. We'll see what happens, but we got a first baseman. He's not going anywhere.
They have Christian getting some reps in the outfield of the minors. Mathis gets the bunt down. Hosmer has it, and they move Descalso into second. 3 unassisted on the sacrifice. Go ahead run at second, 1 out now, and Owings will hit. CO 198, 3 homers this year. He is 4 for 19 as a pinch hitter. Phil Maton gave up just 1 run in his first 15 appearances this season. But Maton has allowed runners to score in 4 of his last 9 appearances. Archie in there after a 1-2-3 7th. 1 out here in the 8th. We can tell all the D-backs fans, and there's a whole bunch here because there's a whole bunch of cell phone lights all over the ballpark. The Rally cell phone light is in place here in San Diego. This place really starting to perk up. 1-1 on Chris Owings. Lays off a high fastball.
Descalso on base for the third time tonight. He has walked and singled twice. That one rolls away from Hedges, and Descalso's in at third. Maton spiked a curveball, a wild pitch.
Just kind of got up into the body of Austin Hedges that time. Got far enough away to allow Descalso to move up to third base now with only one out in the inning. Padres will be forced to bring their infield in.
He's the go-ahead run. He walks Owings. They're on the corners with one out. Here's the leadoff man, John Jay. Aaron Ballsy, the pitching coach, on the phone. Jay's got a single and an RBI, 1 for 4. Hedges out to the mound. Padres bullpen will get busy again.
This is a stall for time meeting. Hedges really took his sweet time getting out to the mound, was working on his catcher's mitt as he walked out there. Padres scrambling in that bullpen to get somebody loose quickly.
Andy Green now making the slow walk out to the mound. He's going to go get Maton. Well, maybe not. Let's see. Kirby Yates, who has inherited the closer's role from Brad Hand after Hand was traded to Cleveland, is the guy getting loose in the Padre pen. And Greeny will make the move right here. D-backs threatening in the 8th. Back after this. Four, 8th inning, one out, runners in the corners. John Jay is the hitter. And the new pitcher for the Padres is their new closer, the right-hander Kirby Yates. You see that 1.40 ERA. That is the second best reliever ERA in the National League, behind only Milwaukee's Josh Hader.
38 2/3 innings pitched, 50 strikeouts against 11 walks. He's only surrendered 1 home run. This is another guy that's potentially a trade target. Who isn't?
Well, they got some pretty decent bullpen pieces. They already traded Hand and Simber. Stammen's a guy getting some interest. Yates is now the closer after Hand was sent to Cleveland. Maton responsible for Descalso at third, Owings at first. One out, John Jay will be the hitter.
Well, if this were the Chicago Cubs, you could almost book it. You would see a safety squeeze right here. One of Joe Madden's favorite plays with runners at first and third with one out. The idea is you stay out of the double play. If it's a perfect bunt, the runner comes home from third. If not, turns into a sac bunt. You have runners at second and third for Goldie.
Well, Jay can certainly drop one down. He can handle himself in that type of situation. Fastball in from the 8s at 94, 1-0. John Jay, former Padre, played here 2 seasons ago.
Horsehide magnet. I don't know how that missed him. It looked like he got the right leg out there a little bit too late.
Timing is off. Owings takes off for second. Jay fouls that one away.
Jump over there at first base. Chris Owings took a very short lead, but then just took off on the first movement by Kirby Yates out there on the mound. Had himself a pretty good jump, but John Jay, being a left-handed hitter, he's not quite sure what's going on behind him down there at first base. Had a pitch that he liked and took a hack at it.
A ball and a strike. Owings holds, and Jay flails at a fastball. It's 1-2. Goldie on deck. Owings got a big jump. Jay knocks it down the line. That's a fair ball in the corner. Descalso will score. Owings flying around third. He will score, and it's 6-4 Diamondbacks.
How about that? A very half-hearted swing on a fastball up and away from him on the previous pitch, but our Chaz Roberts Air Conditioning and Plumbing puts a good swing on the next delivery from Kirby Yates and rips it down into that right field corner. CO was on the move at first base. He'll come all the way around and score. D-backs take a 2-run lead.
3 RBIs tonight. Couple of hits for John Jay. He's at second, still one out. Here's Goldie, 1 for 4. .94 right down the middle. That's
Road
5
tacos.
and 6 runs.
Yeah, love it. I wonder if they do fish tacos.
I was
here
just
in
going to
San
say
Diego.
that. That would be fitting, wouldn't it?
It sure would.
So Archie Bradley in line for the win now, after he got 3 outs in the bottom of the 7th. 0-1 to Goldie. That's out of play. Good crowd here tonight. Better than 37,000 with us. Padres had nearly 35,000 in here last night. A lot of D-backs fans. Trevor Hoffman Hall of Fame bobbleheads handed out during tonight's game. Goldie into right center. Jay coming around third. Paul Goldschmidt, his second RBI single tonight. 7-4 Diamondbacks.
Goldie may be missing a few pitches middle of the plate in from time to time, but that opposite field approach has worked really well for him, obviously throughout his career, but especially over the last 4 or 5 games. Inside out, lead with the hands, let the barrel drag a little bit behind and line it to that opposite field.
3 hits and a base on balls in the inning. It's become a 3-run D-backs 8th after their 4-run 2nd. They've out-hit San Diego now 11-6. Here's Peralta, 0 for 3 with a walk. David's got a 5-game hit streak on the line. Over the mound, Perela flips to Galvis. They get the force on Goldie, and that's it. Well, Descalso got it started with that single to lead off the 8th inning. Owings walked. John Jay a 2-run double. Goldie the RBI single. Here's AJ, who's 0 for 4.
I know we were talking about Jose Perela earlier in the ball game. Came up and lit the world on fire with that bat early on last year, but defensively he's a little rough in the infield. They've tried him out in left field. They're trying him at second base. Just doesn't seem to have the quickness or the movements that you need as a middle infielder to turn double plays like that. Not an easy one by any stretch of the imagination, but not a great attempt that time.
Here their 2 primary second basemen, Aswahi and Spangenberg, both left-hand batters. So Perela got the start tonight against the lefty Corbin. Nolan Arenado has homered for the Rockies, his 27th of the year to lead the league. Colorado over Oakland 4-1. They're in the 7th at Coors Field. This is hit high in the air to right center. Renfroe has it. Diamondbacks get 3. The big hit, John Jay, a 2-run double down the right field line. And the D-backs, as we hit the home half of the gate, lead the Padres 7-4.
A moment ago, and there it goes. Nolan Arenado is 27th of the year to lead the league. And the Rockies hosting the Oakland Athletics lead 4-1. They've just gone to the top of the 8th inning at Coors. The Giants getting pounded right now at home by the Brewers at 7-1. Dodgers beat the Braves 5-1. That's a final from Atlanta. So that's where everything stands right now. And again, look at the wild card there. Gonna have to keep your eye on Milwaukee. 2.5 games ahead of the Diamondbacks for that right to host the wild card game. D-backs will need a win here to stay a game and a half behind LA for the division lead as Yoshi Hirano is on to start the bottom of the 8th inning. Nick Ahmed checks into the ball game, takes over at shortstop. Ketel Marte slides over to second, replacing Daniel Descalso. Here's Hunter Renfroe, 0 for 3, couple of strikeouts. Here's Ahmed to do shortstop, Marte at second. Fastball up, 2-2.
That's a good fastball to Hunter Renfroe. He's a good high fastball hitter, so you go a little bit higher than high. That one above the top of the strike zone, but Hunter swings at it anyway.
Plate discipline has always been an issue for Hunter Renfroe. He gets one high in the air. Deep left field. Peralta at the track, and he got it up in that heavy air, and it just kind of died. You mentioned, Bob, the earlier start here. It's getting a little later now, 8:30 local time, and that one hung up.
He hit that ball in the first 3 or 4 innings of the game. It might have a chance to sneak out of here, but way up in the air to left center field, giving David enough room to get underneath and make the play.
Eric Hosmer 0 for 3. I was looking at Eric Hosmer's stuff today, trying to figure out where the home run power is gone. It's all on the ground. He is hitting a lot of ground balls this year. In fact, only Colorado's Ian Desmond hits ground balls more frequently than Eric Hosmer, which is a whole new problem for him this year. Slugging percentage is down more than 100 points from last season to the Royals. Another ground ball, but it's by a diving Ahmed and into left center. A one-out single.
Well, for Eric Hosmer, that's the ABC theory right there. Anybody but Corbin. Patrick had him tied in knots with that slider tonight in his first 3 at-bats, but finds a hole on the left side there to sneak one through for a one-out single.
Here's Villanueva, walked and scored in the 4th, 0 for 2. Bullpen busy again for the Padres. Phil Hughes, the right-hander, and Matt Strahm, the lefty. Hughes worked an inning in the ball game last night. Another fastball from Yoshi ahead of Villanueva, 0-2. Galvis on deck.
My staff just keeps increasing, partner.
Really, you've made some new hires, have you?
Now we've got Lunchroom Peg weighing in.
Peg,
Yeah.
the queen of Beat the Streak.
Absolutely. She's been listening to the game and noticed how many times we've mentioned the D-backs fans here. She wanted to point out there's a whole busload of ushers from Chase Field
Oh, wow.
here in San Diego for the weekend, taking in ball games.
Way to go, Peg. How did Peg get your number, by the way?
Well, she went through one of my other staff.
Oh, yeah, see. I know Andy has a direct line to our booth. I didn't know Peg was given that same courtesy.
I found it wise to insulate myself from my staff somewhat.
Yes, I think that's
intermediaries.
best for all. The queen of Queen Creek. 2-2. Peg and Andy usually make it down here every year,
Yeah.
but Andy's not moving around that well this year. He's got the bum knee, so hope Andy is feeling okay. They're usually in the seats yelling at us up in our booth. There's a fly ball, deep right field. John Jay at the track, and he's got that just shy of the wall. Hosmer back to the bag at first. Villanueva with some opposite field pop.
A couple balls hitting this inning. Renfro to left and now Villanueva to right. Might have had action earlier in the ball game, but not right now.
Galvis hit that pop-up double that Marte lost in the sky. Back in the 6th inning against Corbin, he's 1 for 3. Bullpen still busy for San Diego. Strom, the left-hander, used the righty. Well, Yoshi really working upstairs with a fastball tonight. Elvis trying to bunt his way on, foul back, and it's 1-2.
A good reaction that time by Yoshi. Escobar was coming down the line at third when he saw Galvis show bunt, and Yoshi came charging in from the mound as well. Once you let that ball go, you become a defender. You become the 5th infielder, and Yoshi was ready to make a play if necessary that time.
That's right there. Yoshi Hirano strands the 1-out single. We head to the 9th in San Diego. 7-4 D-backs.
Forget, fans, coming up tomorrow, the celebration of our 20th anniversary continues as Fox Sports Arizona presents a Josh Kellman exclusive. A brand new show on the D-backs 20th anniversary team. You'll meet the 15 players and the skipper on the all-time team. The D-backs 20th anniversary team, our special program debuts tomorrow after the game right here on Fox Sports Arizona.
Boy, Josh does such a great job on those specials. Our annual spring training preview from Salt River Fields every year is produced by Josh Kellman.
Did all the cup of coffee shows, does all the shows that Todd handles. Phil Hughes, who worked the ninth inning last night, faces his former Minnesota Twins teammate Eduardo Escobar. Escobar has walked, singled, and scored tonight in his D-backs debut. Escobar figures to play a lot of third base with the D-backs, very capable defensively. He'll be hitting in the main part of the lineup. He can contribute, and he knocks it into the right field corner. That one's off the wall. Escobar already with a walk and a single, as a double to start the ninth. Welcome to the Diamondbacks.
A double, how odd. Leading the American League, leading the major leagues in doubles before coming over to the Diamondbacks. Gets a ball down and in that happy zone. Most lefties like that ball down and in, and he bangs it into the corner for a leadoff double.
His 38th to lead all of the majors, ahead of Lindor and Bregman. Chance to tack on a run for Ketel Marte. Marte has walked and doubled tonight. 1 for 3. Fights off a fastball. That one into the D-back dugout. Alex Avila lost a few whiskers that time. He'll grow back pretty quick.
Yeah, they already have.
Look. Have that removed.
He's just trying to get ready for a possible at bat. He's over there putting his batting gloves, his helmet on, minding his own business. Probably should have had the helmet on before that foul ball.
No one's going to get near him now. Ahmed on deck. Tapper to third, short hop, scoop by Villanueva, and they just do get Marte at first.
Nice play by Villanueva. You'd really love to see Ketel pull that ball to the right side, move Escobar up to third base, but tried to slap it through the left side, and Villanueva was there to make the play.
Nick Ahmed now, his first at bat tonight, had an RBI single in the game last night. Nick at 234 has got 13 homers. Chased a high fastball from Hughes, 0-1. Brad Boxberger. Torey Lovullo insisting the other day is still the closer. Starts to get loose in the D-back bullpen. Padres have the lower third of the order due up. Pereira, Hedges in the pitcher's spot. Just caught the corner down there, 0-2. Alfonso Marquez. See him nodding his head. Yeah, that was a strike.
Marquez, one of the better balls and strikes umpires we have in the big leagues. He's frequently a postseason ump. And Ahmed strikes out. 2 down for Mathis. Then another good night at the plate for Jeff. An RBI single in the second. He walked in the 6th. And a sacrifice his last time up. Escobar at second, 2 down. And Jeff hits one deep right center field. That one is headed for the track. And it one hops the wall. An RBI double for Mathis. Make it 8-4 D-backs.
Jeff Mathis more consistently getting the barrel on the ball lately. We've seen him pull some balls hard into left field. This time he takes a fastball on the outer third of the plate and finds that gap in right center. Off the warning track up and over the wall for an RBI book rule double.
His second RBI hit tonight. And now Avila will pinch hit. Boy, Mathis, let's see. He's now hit safely in 8 straight starts. And over that stretch, he's got 6 doubles and 8 RBIs. Padres have the shift on against Avila. 3 infielders on the first base side. Alex homered in his start behind the plate Thursday at Wrigley Field. Avila launches one deep to right field. Renfroe at the wall, and it's off the base of the wall. Mathis is home. Avila an RBI double, and it's 9-4. Boy, Alex jumped on that one. Back-to-back 2-out RBI doubles by D-backs catchers.
Boy, unfortunately, a little top spin on that one also, I think. It looked like that ball was going to carry to right field, although we've seen a couple balls knocked down by that marine layer here late in the game. But as it is, Alex finds the bottom of the fence out there in deep right center, his 3rd double and an RBI.
Well, the D-backs from the number 9 spot tonight have 2 singles, a double, a walk, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. There's John Jay, who had the big 2-run double in the 8th. And he knocks it into right field. Avila stops at 3rd. 3 consecutive 2-out hits.
John Jay with his 3rd hit in the ball game. He's driven in 3, scored 1.
A chance for Goldie. Goldie had a base hit against Phil Hughes in the ball game last night. He's got a pair of RBI singles tonight. D-backs now with 9 runs on 15 hits. Fly ball right field. Playable for Renfroe. Diamondbacks tack on 2 more, 9-4 as we hit the home half of the ninth.
The 4-run second against Tyson Ross. The Padres answered against Patrick Corbin. It was 4-4 after 4, but since then it's been all Diamondbacks. 3 in the 8th, 2 more in the 9th, and now Andrew Chafin is out there with a 9-4 lead on to get the final 3 outs. Chafin's 51st appearance, a 1.51 ERA. Pirela Hedges in the pitcher's spot, 7-8-9 due up. And it looks like Carlos Asuaje will hit for Phil Hughes. D-backs trying to take the first 2 games of this 3-game set with Clay Buchholz on the mound tomorrow against Joey Lucchesi, the left-hander. Dodgers have already won tonight in Atlanta. They beat the Braves. So Torey Lovullo's ball club would stay a game and a half behind the Dodgers for the NL West lead. Here's Pirela, who doubled and scored in the 3rd, 1 for 3. Rockies lead Oakland 4-1. They're in the 9th. Giants lost to the Brewers at home tonight, 7-1. Boy, the Giants, they're fading fast. They're now 7.5 games behind Los Angeles. 4th in the NL West. Rockies, if they hang on, will remain 2 games back in the division.
Jhoulys Chacín picked up his 10th victory today for the Brewers against the Giants. Went 7 innings, gave up 1 run on 3 hits.
That was a nice signing. They gave him a 2-year deal this winter, Chacín, former D-back.
Mike Moustakas got his first hit as a Brewer today.
Was Shaw playing second for them?
Shaw was playing second base. He went 0 for 4. I don't see any errors anywhere on the box score, so he must have survived his first day at second base.
Yeah, some of the folks around here who had seen Shaw a lot in Boston thought second base might be a stretch for him.
Boston put a 10-4 whooping on the Twins today.
Well, they traded Escobar.
Yeah. So J.D. Martinez with number 32.
Just dingers. 2-2 on Pirela with Hedges, the catcher, on deck. Little comebacker for Chafin. Don't forget Todd Walsh standing by. D-backs live post-game show brought to you by CenturyLink. That follows our ball game. 3-game show tomorrow, 12:30. First pitch 1:10. Buchholz and Lucchesi. And hopefully D-backs will be going for the 3-game sweep. I still can't believe you don't like Careless Whisper. It's an interesting choice for a walk-up song. Asuaje indeed is in the on-deck circle, set to hit for the pitcher Hughes.
Is that George Michael? Is that
yeah, that's George
okay.
Michael. Sure.
Okay. Maybe I'll go back to the room and download that tonight. Listen to it a few times, see if I change my mind at all.
Well, you should have known better than to cheat a friend, waste the chance that you've been given. You're probably never going to dance again. 1-1 on Hedges. Hedges used Careless Whisper as his walk-up song all last year. In fact, they had an Austin Hedges Saxy section in left field on some of the ball games here at Petco Park. Everybody in the section given
sunglasses and inflatable saxophones, and they would play Careless Whisper along with Hedges when he walked up to the plate. Here's a one-out walk issued by Chafin, and Oswahe will hit. Oswahe 0 for 3 with a strikeout at second base last night, 217 on the year. Andy Green with just left-hand bats on the bench after Corbin started this one. Oswahe hitless in his last 16 at bats. He is scuffling big time. This is a guy that rarely sees lefties anyway. 5 for 45 against left-handers this year. Fastball missed, 1-1. On the ground to second, Marte, Ahmed, and they rolled the double play. There's your ball game. Diamondbacks take it 9-4. They'll have Buchholz on the mound tomorrow as they try and sweep San Diego. And a tremendous D-back debut for Eduardo Escobar. A walk, a single, a double. He scored twice.
We said in the open of the show that Escobar's a guy that checks a lot of the boxes, and he showed most of it here tonight. Made a couple nice plays defensively. Hit a double, which he's known for. Drew a walk, scored a couple times. Welcome to the ball club.
And the D-backs get their 4th win on this road trip, and they'll go for the sweep here tomorrow in San Diego. 9-4 the final. Up next, it's D-backs Live, brought to you by CenturyLink, the postgame show with Todd Walsh. He'll have highlights, reactions from inside the clubhouse.